All right, we are the last one before the break, so thank you for being here with today. Haider and I are happy to run this presentation, this workshop, because it's supposed to be a workshop, right? So that's the way we are on the academy. We are learning something. Okay, we'll see how it goes. So I'm Alex of Customertimes. I'm CEO of Europe and head of products. And Haider, you are?
Yeah, I founded a consulting firm 15 years ago called Kainjoo to basically help the industry transform from within and capture opportunities in the outside. Yeah.
Could you use the mic, please? The microphone.
Yeah, sorry. So basically, my name is Haider, and I basically created a consulting firm 15 years ago to help pharma capture opportunities in the outside commercially.
All right, the agenda which we prepared for you today is to kind of have a discussion, present the point of view of what is it, the new wave of, we call it CRM wars is happening, what's bringing to you, what the large players are cooking. Salesforce is present here, Viva is not, IQVIA is not, so what is it happening? Are you feature-proof? When is the time to change, and how to embrace AI, because AI is a buzzword, but it's also the part of the strategy and definitely the future of all of us. I consciously took this black and white. It could have been shown like in the 1970s. It's the classic, the adoption cycle, where you have the technology coming in from the innovators, adopters, and this cumulative number of the adoption of technology. And you probably, all of you know this maturity adoption cycle. And you've probably seen these pictures as well. So how the different technologies are getting to maturity, getting adopted, and these curves are getting steeper and steeper, okay? And these spikes, which we have now, it's the adoption of AI with the ChatGPTs, is outstanding in a sense, but it follows the trend. And if I take the CRM world, CRM technologies, and we can rewind it even back to prior to Siebel, we see the trend as well, right? So we have the long adoption cycle, the pioneers of the CRM that were back in the years. CGDIM came, and there was CGDIM Dendrite, if you know, that we eventually became the IMS Health, and then IQVIA. Viva developed themselves as a leader, but as we saw from the previous slide, this cycle getting shorter and shorter, okay? And so I believe there is, like, all of you understand, and most of you are aware what's happening between the large players. There's something happening, right? So the Viva has announced last year so that there is the major shift, technology shift. So after 15 years of happy marriage, or not so happy marriage apparently, with Salesforce, they decided that split apart, and Viva will continue proposing this commercial suite, the CRM, on their own platform called Viva Vault, or Vault platform today. It seems that you still, those of you who are on Viva still have time, okay, to make your decision, but eventually you will have to have a decision, okay? IQVIA, which developed themselves, and we as Customertimes help them in replatforming their products onto Salesforce, realized that it is a tough market to be. So they entered into the partnership with Salesforce, and literally the OCE ambitions, which was like knockout of Viva out of the leadership position, they're kind of parking these ambitious, refocusing on what their core is around data, about patient engagement. Investors apparently applaud to this decision because it's not an obvious marketplace to be in, okay? Salesforce, they're present here, and it's clearly that as a pure player in the CRM and the commercial, they're welcomed intuitively into this marketplace. They made a smart move by licensing this partnership with IQVIA, getting part of their team and developing what is known as a life sciences cloud, which is live, which is available. And this year they're putting in place the commercial part of this suite. Which many companies are considering as a right move, but hey, there are incumbents. There is Viva. There is Salesforce is somehow a newcomer into this space, And what Microsoft is doing. We saw the presentation of TrueBlue, which is one of the ecosystem partners, which is, again, response to what Microsoft is in their nature. And there was a 50-year, this year is 50 year of Microsoft. And they said, Satya Nadella said that like Microsoft is not about what we have built, but what we enable others to be built, which somehow shows the value proposition of Microsoft. Microsoft is not focused on solutions per se. The apps, they are focusing on tools, helping others to develop. So we see the historic life sciences ISVs, TrueBlue and Exiva, who developed the solution. But for you, in the pharma world, the question is like, what shall I do, given all this?
Thank you. Thank you, Alexei. So we are going to take you on a spin here on, and people who know me, where I've been sitting in the commercial ops for 10 years in and out, you know, and 10 years, you know, from a consulting perspective. You have always seen the CRM conversation coming up when you want to become a data-driven organization. And usually commercial ops start with CRM. And when you start thinking, okay, I want to implement or shift, take a new decision on CRM, you always have this people process platform type of setup, you know? And suddenly, the last couple of years, we see a lot of commercial operation leaders coming strongly on the platform piece. That's why we're here. That's why I'm actually joining up forces here, because I wanted to give you tools or frameworks you can use to take better decision with your leadership team or with your IT colleagues to actually understand what does it mean. So the dilemma of CRM, if we take a step back, and we heard, you know, this morning, this flywheel effect, right? There is always this dilemma on we use marketing and sales to push messages outside, and we dream of doing pull marketing, right? And there is a business rationale, right? If you have inbound leads coming up from your CRM, it has a better value than a leads coming up from a push, right? And obviously, you know, if you go to the retention or CPG or TC brands, if you have a community type of organization in the CRM, we know that if you have a loyal agent or loyal customer, it's going to be even more juicy from a lifetime value perspective. Now, as an exercise, as a role play, I want you to focus, for each of you, on where you stand in this kind of adoption map. Are you still in this, you know, pushing 90-degree type of messages, right, to the push that we saw before? And keep it for yourself, right? We will come back to it in terms of decision-making process later. Or are you starting actually to create a cross-functional view at the CRM level? That will be interesting, right? I'll give you an example. If you knew that there is someone from scientific affairs having a meeting for an investigator, and at the same time you have a sales rep in the same hospital, you want to know, right, that the same company is actually present twice in the same day. And that, believe me, is not all CRMs wired that way. And then, you know, we've heard, you know, multi-channel, I even heard opti-channel, whatever, you know, type of synchronization of channel you want to do. The dream is basically to use the CRM as a synchronizator of touch points outside, right? For creating that magical pool effect. So usually the data that will basically use your KYC data is going to be in this 360-degree view. So again, remember, try to map out where is your organization. And for the last couple of years, we heard next best action, you know, for a long time. And we have this AI assistant. That's why I was a little bit provocative with our Cineos colleagues, because for me, AI is not a destination, it's kind of your automatic gearbox for the sales rep in the CRM setting. So one of the first root cause analysis of failure that we analyzed when we see that data is not flooding correctly between functions or regions is coming back to the business rules. So I want you to look at those 14, and depending on your organization, if you have real-world evidence, HEOR, whatever, you'll have more rules, or depending on your organization. But we've been asked in the art and science of transformation of making sure CRMs are wired for success, not for a couple of years and change platforms, but for the next 10, 15 years. So your business rules are basically anchoring how your behavior of employees are going to be set up, but also how the data is going to flood from one system to the other, from one department to the other. And if you set up a CRM in the past, you will recognize that these are basic functions, offboarding reps, I don't know, incentives, especially if you have NPP, non-personal promotion. Interesting to see how you will build incentive around your CRM. So I don't want you to read this, but keep in mind when you see this, what will be kept in the future when you have AI assistants or agentic AI? What will be kept true in the next 5 to 10 years? Because you're not going to be a techie, especially if you're in the commercial operation setting, you're not going to be the one doing the data architecture of this. But you are the one going to define how the business rules are going to wire the organization. An example of how you can define how data is going to flood from one department to the other, even from an external perspective, is basically defining what the HQ is going to get in terms of input-output information from the CRM, and what local, region, countries are going to get from this. This is interesting because the way you are going to define those business procedures are going to define the data dictionary or the data handshakes of how the data is going to go in and out. So I told you, real stuff, these are real slides, and these are juicing. I worked on those CRM that are juicing $2 billion, for example, at Ferring, right? So these are real case studies. But basically what is important is what you see here. Who has an interface that will define the type of screen you will see in the CRM, and who needs to actually input and output the type of data that will define potentially KPIs tomorrow. And now some big principle. Some pitfalls of why we see transformation not happening in the industry compared to CPG brand, where you guys are actually quite the experts. We've been, and I've been part of that problem as well, because my management was asking me to do it. We've been asked to wire CRMs that way, because we are an organization that is siloed, and this is what we understand. We are TA experts, molecule experts. So we've been basically copying the organization within the data set of the CRM. And that is wrong. That's why we are struggling in a world with omnichannel, right? And what is interesting here, when we call real customer centricity, is you need data around the behavior of your customer on the touch point of your brands, right? Or your sales rep, if the sales rep is a channel. That will lead to some effects here. The reason why we create crappy content experiences, and I've created HTTP websites that were not that great, I raise my hand. It's because we are wiring our data set like this. The CRM is a repository of checkboxes by different channels asynchronously. But if you start having really behavior data around your customers, consumers, if you are OTC, then you start having a real KYC, KYB type of data. So we're going to dive deep into this. Let me show you in a second. But remember the view with what we have, the 90-degree view, 180 view, 360-degree view. If you need to pitch a project charter to your management, if you're sitting in an IT committee or whatever, you're going to have to decide, are you going to stay with your legacy tool and fix it? Because now you have much more, I would say, high-velocity channel, and that is going to put you pressure on your data set. Are you going to keep doing change requests and pay for this? And again, I'm not name dropping, it's just a reality. Viva has been a legacy type of tool for a lot. Or are you going to shift to the new kid around the block, fancy, but you are going to have a low adoptability because you're not Coca-Cola, right? You're going to adopt 20% of what Salesforce is going to drop to your door. That's a choice. And it is expensive to think that you're going to pay 100% of a license for 20% adoption. So keep that in mind. My preference is to say, you know where you come from, you know what the future looks like, and there is a world where you can actually buy or build or rent bricks that are going to fix your business rules that we've seen before. And that are going to help you not break the bank, first of all, but that are going to help you as well leapfrog slowly but surely into a world where you take the people organization with you, the process organization with you, before you are mature enough to actually shift to an agentic world where it's kumbaya, right, from a CRM perspective. So just keep that in mind when you saw yourself in this 90-degree, 180, 360 view. And some, let's say, big principle around data. So you all know data. Everyone knows data. It's you know, the interesting buzzword. There is something we see. Usually, you guys in the pharma industry, you have a monolithic view of data. It's frozen. Data is not a currency, which means your business rules were set up in a way that data is just in a silo and doesn't move from one department to the other. That's why you have, nothing against Cegedim, but that's why you pay twice or three times the same data to a company like IQVIA. You want to go to a world where you are enabling microservices. So it means the department is going to knock on the door dynamically and get data, augment the data, and you create a data currency effect in your system. The second piece is big data and thick data. So imagine a big spreadsheet, right? And big data means the number of rows you have. And usually you are very good at having all your doctors in that spreadsheet. The problem we have if we start to do this HCP behavior type of analysis, you don't have enough columns. Like, do you drive an Audi? Are you a husband, you know, who likes basically watching Netflix? Do you like video instead of charts? We don't have enough metadata, those thick data, that will enable marketing or medical to do a better job. So get that in check when you do your business rules. That's where the problem starts. And then to end up on a kind of futuristic note, why are we bringing that up? 5 years ago, I was pretty vocal about digital twin for commercial ops. And I was saying application to application or A2A is a new business model that is coming. But for commercial ops, it starts at the CRM level. If you cannot build microservices, then what happens if you have to influence AI system with your organization because you have a hospital that has its own AI system and you need to defend your first line of therapy to that hospital dynamically? So if you are not preparing your organization for that future, there is a world where you will find new market leader that will, and you will be laggers, and then you will have no choice to actually leapfrog to a world where you have to pay to be in that new arena. With that, I think it was the last slide, right?
Yeah, and to resume and why we are here today, because we are the tech experts that happen to be in the life sciences world for 15 years. We're one of the co-founders of the company. He's here. He's the pharmacist who we intimately know the needs of the industry, and we have these blocks that for that second scenario of how helping you tweak what you have today, put the right pieces, get the right use cases of the AI. We have lots of proof. So what we have, basically, what we're helping companies like Abbott, like L'Oreal in active cosmetics, like others here. It's in this kind of finding the right balance, combining the bringing digital transformation with the bits of the software, our own software, but our partner ecosystem on the platforms. And the platforms means these platforms of engagement like Salesforce, like Microsoft, helping you to shine without investing or going full in onto one or another. Use what we have, and and let's discuss. And maybe to finalize, you ask many questions. That's like about people finding themselves. Any questions on this?
Do you have any question? I have a mic so I can share it around. Oh, we were super clear.
How many of you on Viva today? Only one. Okay. Have you decided what to do after? That's good. Okay. Speak to us, to Haider, to ourselves.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.